Hello, welcome back, Box1 here, and we have a big one today. We're looking at this 1988 LEGO set. This is set 6395. It is the Victory Lap Raceway. My third favorite set that I own, and it is quite a big one. It has two big base plates, 13 figures, 4 race cars, as well as another service truck, and some pretty cool little pieces and just things about it. Now, mine isn't a complete copy. It is missing one shell thing, and I did borrow this one piece from the fire station I have, but it's mostly complete. I mean, other than that, you really can't tell that it's missing anything because it's really not missing much. But anyway, I'm going to get onto the figures, and then I'm going to show you the cars, and then we're going to get into the actual raceway itself. So, I do hope you'll enjoy this. I'm certainly going to enjoy looking at this set. So let's get into it. And the first figure we'll be looking at is this medic. Try and get the glare off his torso. And you can see he's a very cool figure. He's pretty common piece-wise. He only has, the only really cool thing about him is his torso with the red cross on it, which is very nice. Obviously, none of these figures will have back printing, so I won't turn them over or anything. But yeah, he's just a pretty simple medic. He comes with a stretcher, which I'll show off later. The next two figures are both the same. They are shell workers, and they do have that very nice shell torso on them. I like Shell, at least in the old LEGO sets. Don't know about the actual company. I don't know much about them. But, you know, it's a cool partner that LEGO had back then, and they had some very cool sets, such as some gas stations, some other stuff like that. Exxon also was a big gas partner with them. But anyway, let's get on to the next figure. And that next figure, if we get the glare off of him, is just a spectator of the race. Maybe just some random guy coming here. Maybe just some person looking to have fun. It's pretty cool. He's just a simple figure. He has a nice zip-up shirt. And yeah, he's pretty simple other than that, which I said like 1,000 times. One of my favorite figures in this set is the tow truck shirt guy. Now, this shirt does come in a bunch of sets, but I just really like it. I think it's cool. His face is very downshifted on that print, especially if I take off the hat. You can see he has a big forehead, but he's pretty cool. Maybe that's why he's wearing a hat, if I can get it back on, maybe to hide that forehead. But yeah, he's pretty cool. He's wearing a tank top, which is something you don't see much in LEGO City, or I should say LEGO Town. LEGO City wasn't a thing back then, but yeah, pretty cool. A very common figure here is this guy with the blue striped shirt. He has the hair that's been used for a while now. I think it retired back, I know after 2010, because old Luke Skywalker's had it up until that point at the very least. But yeah, he's a pretty simple figure. I like his blue striped torso. There's also a variant, or not a variant, but another striped torso with red. It's literally just the same thing, but in red. I quite like him. The next guy is the announcer of the race, or maybe just some guy in a suit. It doesn't really, I mean, it suggests he's the announcer, but it doesn't specifically say. But he's pretty cool. He has a nice suit and tie in there, and I really like that torso print. I think it looks good. You also do get some light gray legs with this guy, something that is slightly less common. You usually see red, blue legs, maybe white, black, and usually not yellow for, I hope, obvious reasons. But yeah, he's pretty cool. We also get this guy who wears the very, very simple torso and very common torso, that just simple work uniform, and he also has a race flag, which is a printed piece, I believe. I think all the pieces in the set are printed, actually. Maybe the shelf stickers on the truck, which I'll be showing in a little while, aren't, but yeah, just a double-sided printed flag. Very cool. I mean, you can't exactly operate a track without somebody to service the vehicles and work on them in case one breaks down. And that's why you have this guy, the mechanic, or the serviceman, whatever you wish to call him. He works on the vehicles, and he is a very cool overall. You'd also see the same print, just with different colors. I think there is one of basically every main color. There was white, red, yellow, or not white, obviously, you can't have white on there, but blue, red, black, obviously, yellow, and I think there was another, but he's pretty cool. Green, that's what it was. But yeah, pretty cool figure. I quite like him. Getting into last 4 figures with the racers, we have this guy. He is the blue racer. He is a simple zip-up, like tracksuit or some type of racing outfit, and he has the little zipper at the bottom as well. He and the two of the other racers do share the same torso print, just with a different color torso. You'll see that on the black and the red one, but the white one has one unique. So let's actually get them all together. And I think that's a pretty good way to show it. They all have the same torso, just with different colors. And I'll leave that on just for a second so you can actually see what they look like. And I think they actually all look pretty cool. Now onto the actual unique one. The only unique racer in this set, if it'll focus, there we go, is the white racer. Now his legs have seen better days, but his torso is pretty good. You can see that S on it and some stripes up and down it, which is different from all of the rest, which is interesting choice that they changed that up. And it's a good choice, actually. I really like that. These racers all have the new helmet being from 1988. I think they switched it either 1986 or 7. But anyway, it's a pretty cool helmet, and I quite like it, and I think it looks great on this guy. Maybe need to replace those. Ooh, we'll pretend we didn't see that. Just cover that up. With the figures dealt with, of which I think all of them are pretty good, I actually quite like them. They're all simple, obviously. They're town figures, so they don't have to be special, but I think they're all unique. And we can get into the cars now, and then after that, the truck. But we're getting into the cars, which I think we can all show off together, since they're the same build. And that was a great cut. I need an Academy Award for that. These are the cars. I think they're all pretty interesting. I do not have them lined up in order. This one should be on the end. Fix of a lifetime. There we go. These are pretty cool. They're all the same build, as I said. They just have different color schemes. This one being a white, red, and yellow color scheme. Very cool. Don't know what that reminds me of, but it reminds me of something. So, oh, Shell. That's what it reminds me of. Am I crazy? Shell. Anyway, this is the blue one. Red, wine, blue. Kind of reminds me of Russia. Has the Russian flag kind of look to it. I don't think Russia did exist back then. What am I saying? This is 88. Not, or did they? No, they didn't. That was still Soviet. Anyway, history lesson aside, this is a pretty cool car. I like the look of it. Next one, McDonald's car, obviously. Have the red and yellow there, which look very good, and it has a grille in gray on the back, or light gray, I should say. And then finally, the black and yellow car, Bumblebee car, or, I don't know, something else. Very cool, and as you saw, they all have different prints. This one's, they're all in multiple sets. I will say that. There are not exclusive prints in this set that I know of. They're all pretty common. But this one, I actually do have another set that comes in specifically, and I think I got an extra one as well from a LEGO haul. They're all common, but I think they're all pretty cool to get unique ones for them. The next vehicle is actually pretty unique. It is a service vehicle, or I should say, like, yeah, they kind of just tow away the cars if they get broken. And that's where you get this very nice and slightly dusty on the back carrier. And this is actually used as a metal axle, which you'll see in not as many sets now, or basically no sets now, but you saw them back then. These ones actually don't have metal axles. But this is the only thing I think that does in this set. Either way, it is towed on a little ball joint, which is very liable to break, so don't move it too hard. I'll show you what that looks like with a car on it. Also kind of hides some of the dust, although the car isn't much better. We can get onto the actual vehicle, which is pretty cool. It has actually a tow hitch in the back, so you can hook it up to the car if you want to pull it. Obviously, it's old as dirt, so it's not exactly easy to do. This one's actually not too bad. Well, I feel it. But yeah, you get another shell print back there, some lights, and I just realized I'm missing a tile on the top. There we go, that's what it's supposed to look like. Can't believe I missed that. But on the side, I believe it has a fire extinguisher. Yep, very simple in there. Has the shell print on either side of the doors, and has this very cool roof, which has a sunroof, actually. Something I really like on vehicles. I think it's cool. And you can actually open the roof up as well, if it will cooperate, which it doesn't ever like to do. And there. You can fit one figure in there. I always put a shell driver in there. I mean, it makes sense. And that's what that looks like. I think it looks pretty good. We can turn it around to the other side. It is much the same, except in here, I believe it has a wheel. Yeah, white wheel in there. And it also has another shell print. These headlights, if you will know, are very brittle. So don't move them too much at all. Don't try and take them off. These type of transparent pieces in the 1x1 plate are very brittle in these old sets. So just a warning, especially the blue ones. Trans blue is extremely, extremely breakable. Anyway, now that we have gotten on with all the very cool cars and vehicles and figures, we can get into the actual big set. And that was such a long build-up, you may have forgot there was an actual set. This is it. It is quite large. It is not the biggest set. At that time, it wasn't the biggest. There was a bigger set that came 3 years earlier, which I also have, the Airport. It had 4 base plates and 1 half base plate, of this size, I should say. They're very cool. Anyway, this one has some interesting stuff. It has these lines, or not lines, I should say, barricades here. Kind of, this is where I usually keep the repair truck, or I guess service truck, as I said earlier. And then there's also these stands up here, which is where I keep the people. But there's a way up to the stands using these stairs, which is a pretty cool thing. A lot of modern sets don't actually have ways to get into where you have to get your figures. Some of these older sets did have that. Not all of them, obviously, but this one specifically did, and I think that gives it a lot of detail. We can get down on a more of a ground levels here and see this very cool camera thing, which you may have another operator, say another show guy operating the camera, just moving around, looking at the racers, whiz by, and you do get that very nice printed film piece on there. That's a pretty common print, but it's still a nice print to get. And you get the printed number 3. I think there's, that's the only one in white you get in the set. You get 2 of each of these in yellow, which goes on here, which I'll show right now. And that's kind of the little signals there. You can see there's a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4 all the way at the back. But yeah, in between those, I think I knocked something around. Oh, I knocked the flag off. There are flags around. I'll show this in a second. I'm really discombobulated with this. I'm not very good at showing off such a big set like this. There's a lot of stuff to show. There's service area down here for 1 mechanic, although there's only 1 mechanic in the set, but there's 2 service stations, one on the other side. And they have these 2 carts, one with white wheels in it, and one with what is supposed to be yellow, but I don't have any other yellow interior wheels. They're a bit harder to find than the white, especially in these older sets. But yeah, this has a very cool jack piece, which can be used to actually lift up a car. I'll show you what that looks like. And you can see the car's just on its side, which is a great feature. I think that's a really cool piece. It isn't a rare piece, but it's actually 3 pieces. But it's a very cool one, and I quite like it. Moving up here, you can actually see the kind of like a scoreboard or lap counter or whatever you want to call it. There is the 60 there, which is a blue tile, as well as these arrows, which kind of indicate this is upside down. What am I doing? And that's what that looks like in the correct orientation. It also has some other printed parts, like the little clock timers, kind of showing the lap times, I'm guessing, and some other pieces which were actually pretty common prints in space sets, just on different color backs, as well as a lap counter on the top, which can be turned. There's all the 4 again, as I said. This is also the bridge, which I usually have the flag guy stand and wave the cars on. And yeah, it's pretty cool. If you didn't notice, I was missing a shell thing here. I don't have that piece. I'm missing it, unfortunately. That's the only printed piece I'm missing, and it's one of the biggest ones. So, you know, great. But anyway, you can move on to where the fans actually sit, or stand, I guess you could say. There's no real seats here. And you can see this very nice kind of overhang, which is cool. I did substitute a 1x8 and a 1x2 piece for a 1x10 in blue, because I didn't have it in my collection for some reason. But you do get this little announcer's booth over here, which, if you look, there are some numbers over there. And on the bottom, there are some control panels, maybe some computers just telling some more information about the thing that's going on. On the inside, there's more computers. There's a computer, actually, and a phone, which is pretty cool on that nice 2x2 slope. And you can actually sit a figure there, and that chair's on a turntable. And that's what that looks like, and you can actually turn the figure around and spin him. Give him a little bit nausea. My favorite. Very cool. Other than that, we can just take a look at the little stretcher that the medic has, as well as the flags, which are all about here. There are, I think, 6 flags? Yeah, there's 6 flags, 2 on either one of these little things, and they look pretty cool. They add a lot to this set, surprisingly. They add a little bit of height, they add a little bit of detail, and they just add some interesting factors to it. Very cool. But yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to show it off set up, and I think it looks way better like that, with all the cars on the track, with the vehicles on there, and I think that looks very cool. If I were to say one problem with it, I were to say it doesn't have enough spectators, and that's the only thing. I mean, 13 figures, though, is kind of crazy, so I can't really fault it for not having enough figures. I mean, it's good, really good amount of figures, and I'm really happy about that. But yeah, I really like this, and I think it goes well with some other town sets, especially if you got like one of those massive people packs that you got back then. You could easily populate the stands with just one of those, and they would be overflowing. But yeah, I really like the scale of this one. I like the figures on this one, and I really like the actual whole set. I do have the instructions, and I will actually show off the box quickly. You can, of course, leave now if you don't want to look at the inside of an old box, but yeah, we can see some kid that's now in his 40s playing with this set, or 50s even, if he's like 12 or something. But yeah, I guess not. No, he would be in his 40s if he was still 12. Anyway, this is pretty cool. Beginning there, though. You see just some simple builds here. These are all, or mostly, from the actual set. There is another on the back, which shows some alternate builds, such as another smaller raceway, and this can all be done with the pieces in this set. A very nice airport, which is kind of a cool thing. Maybe there's an air show. These look like remote control planes because of their scaling, but I'm guessing they're supposed to be full-scale ones. A little tow truck, which is actually a very nice build. Little go-kart looking car, and an oil rig, which is the coolest thing I've seen on here in a while, and I actually want to attempt to build that sometime. But not yet, because I'm lazy. But anyway, yeah, just some pretty cool alternate builds. You also get this instruction manual, which does have the same alternate builds on it. It just simply flips open like that, and this is a crazy first page, if I were to actually say this. This is mad. I remember when I first built this set, when I got it originally, or I guess I didn't get it, when I was building it before I got it, because it was originally my uncle's, which is pretty cool. But anyway, I remember opening it up and I was like, what do I do first? Because this is mad. I mean, the figures, first of all, obviously you build all those. That probably takes 10 minutes because of how many there are. Then you build 4 identical cars in that. And then finally you get onto the Raceway after spending like half the pieces on the car builds. And the Raceway was very fun to build. You can see it doesn't take many steps because they did do a lot of pieces per step back then. But yeah, you get eventually done right here on step 18, which is crazy for the scale of this set. But you can see how it is on the inside. There's a simple blue cardboard piece in there. There was originally a plastic container that it would come in sealed. That's been lost to time. It was probably thrown out immediately after, but it's a little bit cloudy. It's not blurry. This is just a cloudy, older thing that hasn't been washed in however many years. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Mine isn't terrible condition. It's actually pretty good. It does have a bit of piece going down in the corner, and this one is completely fallen off and has been taped by the previous person, but it's very cool. I really like this. So anyway, I do hope you enjoyed. I know it's been a little bit longer of a video for me, usually. They're about 8 to 10 minutes max. This one has been like pretty close to 15, I'm guessing. I haven't edited it yet, obviously, but yeah. I like the set. It's my 3rd favorite set of every set that I own, so it's kind of up there. The top 2 being the Ewok Village and the Quiggy Mart ahead of it, respectively. But very cool. I quite like this, and I do hope you like it too. I shall see you next time, where we'll be looking at, hopefully, another LEGO set. Goodbye.